with today's webinar. I am loving all of the chat that's happening in the chat box already. Today we're talking about maximizing conversion, and we're coming at it from a very specific angle today, which is actually your marketing tactics. So the tactical things that you need to ensure you're doing consistently to ensure that you maximize conversion. So for those of you who don't know me well, my name is Tash. I'm a business strategy geek. I had my first business at the age of 9 years old. I was crushing up fool's gold rocks into glitter and then selling them at school. And I've always been fascinated with marketing, psychology, why people make decisions, and business in general. I resisted having a business for a very long time because my dad also had a number of his own businesses and was a bit of an ideas man and showed me how easy it was to fail at small business. So I did resist it for a long time, but I am such a biz nerd that I had to come into the entrepreneurial world. I've been in business since 2013. I specialize in lean business and particularly lean startup. So making money without having to spend money in business. I'm all about connection and community. You're all members of the Heart-Centered Soul-Driven Entrepreneurs website, Facebook group, I'm sure. I believe everything is a practice. So I am not perfect. I am still practicing at this whole business thing. I'm still practicing my conversions. I'm still working on how to improve my conversions as well. But there are certain strategies and things that I have learned that really work well. I have helped over 1,000 women now to create business success, and I love helping them practice. And if you're coming to see me live on tour, which you may have heard about today, I am 6'2". So you've been warned. I'm 6'2". It can be overwhelming. That's who I am. All right, let's get started. About you, conversion is your next skill to master. I'm one of those that you've helped. Thank you, Melios. That's so beautiful of you to say. Conversion is your next skill to master. Whether you're in startup or you're more established, if you're here today, you've been attracted to this word conversion and you want to master that skill because it is a skill and it's something that we can all develop. Melio says, I'm bringing a stool to stand on for ourselves in Auckland because I'm 5'1", 5 foot. I have mastered the squat, Melios. It's fine. My quads are so ripped from all the selfie squatting that I do. We're totes fine. So today we are going to focus on what is conversion to start with. And also the 6 keys to conversion I'm going to share with you. And we are going to build out your conversion strategy that fits where you are right now. Snorted water onto my keyboard. I love making people gig. All right, so just a quick note for today. Because we're going to be covering startup all the way through to advanced, some people will watch this webinar and have just a few little tweaks and changes that they decide they need to make. So they'll just have a few little areas that need focus. Totally awesome. Some people will realize, my foundations actually aren't there. I need to work a little bit on that first before I focus on some of these more tactical strategies when it comes to conversion. Totally awesome. Some of you will need a complete overhaul. And I'm going to be 100% honest with you. That is going to be like the realization for a few people. But instead of being freaked out by that and going, oh my God, I need a whole overhaul. This is crazy. I just need to give up on my business. Instead, let's look at this from a, whoa, lucky you're here and lucky you're doing this today instead of in a year's time. Let's catch the foundational things that need to be sorted as quickly as possible. And if things just are not working for you in your business, then today is your lucky day because we are going to sort that out and we're going to work out what the right strategy is for you. So to get us started, and some of you have already shared this into the chat box, which type of conversion needs improvement for you. So maybe that one-to-one conversion when you're having conversations with people, or someone says, "Oh, I'm interested in your work," and you send them a follow-up email, so the one-to-one style of conversion. Maybe it's that one-to-many conversion where it's an evergreen thing. So those automated sales funnels, those email sequences that you're sending out, those things that you have on repeat in your business that are going out to people over and over again, but they just don't seem to be converting. Or maybe it's the one-to-many when you're in launch. So there's a difference between conversion of evergreen and conversion in launch. So when you're launching a course or a program, you have a shorter period of time. You might have some urgency to people signing up for things on a webinar, or when you're doing a 5-day challenge. And that conversion, it's rocking. But you've got these evergreen funnels that are selling cheaper products usually. And for some reason, no one's actually putting their hand in their pocket to join that thing. So I'd love to know. We've got lots of one-to-many with webinars, beautiful, and follow-up for leads of all types. I'm fine with conversion if someone is interested enough to get on the phone with me. Right. So for you, Jody, it's converting them to the point of actually getting on the phone with you. Interesting. Conversion of cold leads to freebies, both gated and ungated. Great. Thank you, Miriam. Sue, one-to-one, but only because I'm not at 2 or 3 yet. And that is a beautiful realization, Sue. I just want to focus on one-to-one first. And I'm gonna say that. So you are very, very on the ball here. So Denise is one-to-many. In my launch, my pitch at the end always flops like a big pizza falling from the Empire State Building. Nicole says, I'd like to get more women on the phone, sell to one-to-one, and of course, I actually rock at one-to-one conversions. I will just say that. Great. I'm probably similar to Jody. I feel I'll be okay as long as I can get them on the phone, but I haven't had enough inquiries to be sure. Wow, awesome. So conversion is, in this case, turning reach into leads and turning leads into clients. So we've got those 2 stages. Turning reach, so all of the spaces where you have reach online, offline, going to a live event, or posting on your social media, engaging in Facebook groups. You're creating all of this awesome reach. Maybe when you're a guest on someone else's podcast, or you have a podcast of your own. That's all reach at the very top of your funnel. Turning that into leads, whether that's people signing up to have a one-on-one conversation with you or jumping on the phone with you, that's a lead. Whether that's getting people signed up to your mailing list, signing up to a short-term webinar with that reach, that launch-based reach, or whether it's getting people into a funnel, an automated funnel. So turning reach into leads and then turning leads into clients. So however you treat them as a lead, whether that's getting on the phone with them, having their email address, being on a webinar, running a challenge, sending out a free ebook, turning those people then into clients. It can be one-to-one or one-to-many. And overall, it's turning followers into raving fans who actually purchase from you. Jay says, hi Jay, mine are converted before I get them on the phone. Hardly anyone asks for that. Perhaps it's my blog about not doing business coffees. So I have to do all the conversion work before that step. Yep, interesting. Also, your offer is words. We fall in love with your words, so we don't need to hear you speak. I love it, Jody. Excellent. So I want to say before we get into the strategy, start where you are. Because if you can't convert one person with a conversation, right? So if you are really struggling to get one person to purchase from you with a conversation, or if you're really struggling to get 3 people to say, yes, I'm interested in finding out more about this, then trying to outsource conversion to a sales page or an evergreen funnel is not necessarily going to work for you. Because if you can't get it to work at the one-to-one, then it makes it really difficult for it to work at the one-to-many. So start where you are and focus on the area that is important to where you are in the stage of business that you're at right now. If you're still in startup, then you need to make sure that you're applying these strategies to the startup processes, getting those people on the phone if that's what you need to do, or making those offers to people and having them say yes, even just in that one-to-one space. Maximizing conversion isn't simply a case of finding the magic message. Messaging is vital, right? You've heard me talk about the importance of messaging. You've heard me talk about how messaging and the words that you use are the difference between someone getting it and not getting it. But when it comes to maximizing conversion, it's not simply about finding that magic message. It also requires taking a long-term and a short-term approach. Because the hard facts are that over 75% of people will not work with you within the first 90 days of finding you. And for some industries, it's more like 95% of people take more than 90 days to convert into paying clients. So we want to make sure that you are building conversion not only in the short term, but also in the long term. Messaging is its own thing. So we are going to focus on tactical strategies to increase conversion here today, but conversion strategies won't fix poor messaging. So one of those things that I love to do with people is when we talk about why something isn't working, we actually talk about the three elements. Is it not getting enough reach? Is it not getting enough? Is the messaging not working? Or is it not getting enough conversion? So reach and messaging are their own beasts. Today, I want to focus on the strategies that you can use to improve conversion. Now, if you have an inkling that the messaging is the issue, that doesn't mean that these strategies won't work for you. Because if you are doing all of the tactics that help to improve conversion and you're getting great reach, well, guess what? You've worked out what the real issue is. The real issue is your message. But if you have been working on your message and you've been playing with your message and you've been experimenting with your message and you think, you know what, I think I'm starting to nail it. When I have conversations with people about this, they get it. They really love it. Chances are there may actually be some conversion tactics that you can apply that will improve your conversion without you having to do any changes to your messaging. And your messaging will continue to improve as you go. And what Jody just said, my messaging is getting better each week. The more clients you serve, the better your messaging will be. The more people who join your course and tell you what they're getting out of it, the better your messaging will be. The more you respond to people's questions about the work that you do and the impact that you want to have and how you serve people and why you're here on this planet, the more you have those conversations, the better your messaging will become. My messaging is still improving. So we're going to isolate the tactics of conversion today. So if you think that your messaging needs work, practice these strategies one-to-one first to check that you've got the messaging right before then scaling whatever it is that you're going out there to do the launch of. So before you scale that messaging, you can use these conversion tactics as well as refining your messaging on a one-to-one basis and then grow from there. I wanted to use these numbers here because I think everyone asks me what's a good conversion rate, right? And conversion has so many different factors that come into play. Price point will impact on conversion. The level of connection you have with people will impact on conversion. How cold or how warm are your leads will impact on conversion. But when you get it right, conversion is the difference between turning 200 leads into a $495 launch or turning 200 leads into a $5,445 launch. Because from what I hear out there, I follow a lot of marketing specialists online. So people like Zach Spuckler, Amy Porterfield, those types of peeps, particularly in the US, but also people like Denise Duffield Thomas and Amanda Jane Daly here in Australia. From what I hear, 0.5% of leads into conversion is pretty much industry average for online businesses selling courses and programs. Now, for most of those people, their courses and programs are more expensive. So their conversion rates, therefore, are going to be a little lower. And 0.5% is the average that I'm hearing. For people who I have worked with from the Lady Posse, so peeps who are in the academy, who are in my Courses with Heart program, I'm seeing around a 2.5% conversion rate. Some people are 1.5%, some people are 5%. But on average, I'm seeing about a 2.5% conversion rate. And for me, with my most recent launches in the last 18 months, my average conversion rate is 5.5%. Now, that's ranging between a $187 product all the way up to a $1,495 product. My average conversion rate is 5.5%. So from 200 leads, that's 11 sales. Now, this is for leveraged courses, launches, those kinds of things. So if you are working with people mostly one-to-one and you're having one-to-one sales conversations, your conversion rates are going to be way, way higher. So for one-to-one calls, for example, when I was working with people mostly one-to-one when I first started, I didn't do free discovery sessions. I did intro sessions, 2-hour intro intensives. And those intensives, they started at $97 for 2 hours. And then over 6 to 12 months, they grew to $247 for 2 hours. And my average conversion rate from an intro session to a VIP package was 60%. So these conversion rates are all different, and I'm talking about just this one example of launching a course or program that is a $495 product. But you can see the difference that great conversion makes. You can see by not having any more leads, because leads these days generally cost time or money, without having to get any more leads, if you have the right conversion strategies, you increase the effectiveness of your launch, you increase the conversion rate of people into purchasing from you, and you don't have to do any more of the time and money going out and getting more leads. So many big marketers these days are focused on mass lead generation. And whilst that is really sexy, for most people, particularly women in business, that's not their number one priority right now. It's actually conversion. Because increasing conversion often takes less time and less money, and you've already got those people. You already know how to get 200 people signed up to a webinar. So if we can just increase your conversion rates, you're going to get better results without having to get more and more and more people signed up to your webinars. So a special note on reach, I also want to say that, you need to be reaching enough people as well. There is always a limit on conversion as far as I'm concerned. I'm not aiming to get my conversion rates from webinar to sales to 75% or even 50%. There will always be a limit on conversion. There's always going to be people who are attracted into my lead magnets, who aren't ready to buy yet, who don't really know me enough yet. That they're going to take some time. And there's never a limit on reach though. So once we've got conversion working and we're putting these strategies in place, it makes life so much easier. We also want to be real that you do need to reach some people. So if your current average sign-up rate for your webinar is 50 people, then I would challenge you that your reach does need to grow as well. We need to get 200 people signed up for your webinars. We need to aim to make sure that you are getting enough people that a conversion rate between 2 and 5% is going to be good enough for you. So know your numbers is point number one. Know your numbers. You can go and check how much is your average reach each week on your Facebook page. How many people are actually reading your emails when you send them out each week? Go and look at those numbers and start paying attention to them so that you can measure the impact of these changes that you're going to make in terms of conversion. So what I want you to do is grab out a pen and paper and draw up a little table like this, because I'm going to be sharing with you the keys to conversion, and I want you to do a little self-assessment as we go through. So I'm going to focus on each key, but as I talk about each key, I want you to think about it in these terms: one-to-one conversion, one-to-many conversion evergreen, and one-to-many conversion in a launch. So if you're not doing one-to-many conversion yet, don't worry about those. Just focus on your one-to-one conversion. But if you're doing one-to-many conversion evergreen and one-to-many conversion launch, include that as well. So I'll give you a moment to create this beautiful little diagram. Now, as I said at the start of the call, the bigger the better, because I don't want you to just put like 1 out of 10 or 5 out of 10 in these different areas. I actually want you to start popping into here. What are the things, what are the practical things you can start doing more of? What are the things you can do less of? What are the new ideas you want to play with in each of these areas? Swagata, yes, the recording will go out later this evening. So one-to-one conversion, one-to-many evergreen, one-to-many launch. It fits perfectly on the meal planner plan. I have a planner chart I happen to have on my desk right now. Perfect. So Jody says, I haven't chosen my evergreen because I'm still working through what works. I should stick with that for now, right? Yes, absolutely. Webinars and your one-to-one, Jody. Webinars and your one-to-one is where you're up to, so focus on that. So that's one-to-one conversion and one-to-many. And you could even just say one-to-many webinars, because webinars are your thing right now. So you can make it very specific to you. And then across the top, we want key 1, key 2, key 3, key 4, key 5. Leave space for yourself to write down what those keys are if you want to keep this beautiful little chart up on your wall to help you remember the keys to conversion. Excellent. So key number 1 is KLT. Now, this is a very, very well-known, widespread marketing term, which stands for know, like, and trust. The extent to which people know, like, and trust you. Now, when we work in feminine business and connected business strategies, such as engaging in Facebook communities, being an actual human being instead of a shell of a human being with perfectly manicured eyebrows, when we engage in the feminine model of business, we also add the C, KLTC. I know you, I like you, I trust you, and I feel connected to you. Do I do a line for email nurturing? Is that counted as one-to-one? One-to-one. So you'll have email nurturing to one-to-one and email nurturing to webinars will be included in these, Jody. So you don't need to make any extra rows for those. So KLTC, know, like, trust, and connect. So Susanna is asking the chat box, what's the difference between trust and connect? Shouldn't they be the same? Well, there's a difference between I trust you, i.e., you can trust someone because you've seen that they have helped someone else achieve an outcome, or you've read some great testimonials, or you've actually received an ebook from them and you've read through it and you've achieved an outcome. They are really big trust generators. But that's different to, I feel like I'm connected to you. Because when you feel connected to someone, you feel like you can reach out and ask them a question. You feel like maybe you know a little bit about them behind the scenes, not just know what they do and know about their business, but you actually feel like you have some connection. You're in Facebook communities together. You have met each other at a real life event. Now, you don't automatically feel like you trust someone when you meet them in real life, but goodness me, you feel a lot more connected to them. So that's the difference between trust and connect. So I want you to rate yourself in key number 1 of know, like, trust, and connect, in terms of how much do you think you build KLTC with your peeps, with people who find you on your social media, with people you have one-to-one conversations with, when you're creating and launching and running your webinars. How much are you creating KLTC? And I've got on this page some ideas on how you might increase KLTC with your followers. So I always say this, that zebras are programmed to recognize stripes and humans are programmed to recognize faces. So do you have your face in your free ebook that you're distributing? Do you have your face on your slides when you run a webinar? Do you share selfies on your Facebook page? Not just those beautiful, perfect, or professional photos that you got taken 6 years ago, but real, up to the minute, live, showing your face to your audience, whether that be perfectly done up and presented or whether that be a real life, I'm on the beach, no makeup, bare feet selfie. Be human. So hashtag be human has been one of my favorite hashtags since about 2014, when I realized that I was creating this weird front when I first started my business and trying to look all professional and trying to look like I was a big company. I got caught up in this thing. One of those very masculine marketers said, on your MailChimp, you have to provide your email, your postal address, and it has to go in the footer of your email. So if you live at Unit 1, 35 Rowley Street, which is where I lived, then put Suite 1, 35 Rowley Street, because then it will look like you're in an office and then people will take you more seriously. I totally fell for that. And then I just got more and more kind of tired of trying to keep up this front. And I realized the more I share my mistakes, my humanness, my vulnerability, the more connection I create with people and the more trust that we build as well. Showing people behind the scenes of your business, being available to answer questions, going to live events and meeting people in real life. Yes, pop on a bra or not and get yourself to a live event. Giving support to people without expectation of it turning into something. Being vulnerable, sharing your not so perfect stuff, using connected lead magnets. I see so many people who have all these awesome freebies, but not one of them is connected. So it's an ebook, and then it's a handout, and then it's a downloadable, and then it's a free video series. But not once do I feel like we're in the same virtual room at the same time. And being connected when you do your lead magnets creates that C in KLTC. Being available and getting real. So give yourself a little bit of a rating. So Nicole says this is such a good exercise to do, shows where I need to do some work. You know what else works with KLTC, particularly for the trust, is being present even when you're not launching. How many people have you followed, or how many people have you jumped on their email list, and the only time you hear from them is when they're getting ready to sell something to you and when they're selling something to you? They disappear off the face of the planet for 3 months, and then all of a sudden they're putting all of this amazing value in your inbox, and they're completely present on Facebook Live, just answering everyone's questions for no reason. And then boom, the launch starts. Yes. So we've got a few comments up here. Gosh, hard to rate yourself. Maybe we should all rate each other. Find a trusted biz bestie, find someone, Trisha, and rate each other. Give each other some feedback on what you're seeing of each other. For sure. I think that's a great idea. Tiffany says, getting better with these. I'm really glad I found you in the Heart Center group early in building my business. Beautiful. Suzanne, I can't stand that. Unsubscribe. Sue says, Tash, please say being connected with freebies. I recall you saying it doesn't always have to be free time. It can be a blog post, a video, etc. But that sounds opposite to what you just said. So yes, you can have blog posts and videos and all of those sorts of things for freebies. But to what extent are you creating connection with those freebies? So it doesn't have to be connected all the time, but particularly when you're in launch, and particularly consider, like at least once a month, do a lead magnet that is connected. So a webinar is a connected freebie. A 5-day challenge in which you do live support calls is a connected freebie. It doesn't always have to be one-to-one. It doesn't always have to be free time, but connected lead magnets and freebies have much higher conversion rates because they're building your KLTC, particularly in the short term. Shanae says, for the record, no bra is totally acceptable at Brisbane Lady Posse meetups. Totally cool. Joy says, asking others really helps, especially when you think you're visible and find out you're not really. Nicole says, that was me last year. I have had a year off and can feel the difference. My motto this year is doing it differently. Beautiful, Nicole. So rate yourself, and maybe if some of those things have sparked ideas for you, pop them into the appropriate box on your little chart. Let's move on to key number 2. The second key to conversion is having a very clear call to action, and no mistaking the one call to action. So does your call to action shine, or is it actually the best secret in town? I have been running Lean Startup School live last month, so it finished up on Wednesday. And I had so many beautiful ladies in Lean Startup School popping into the community and saying, I'm just not making any sales. I don't know what I'm doing wrong. I feel like I'm doing all the right things. So for a few of them, I did a bit of Facebook stalking, right? I said on a Facebook Live yesterday, we're all like Liam Neeson on Facebook, right? I will track you down. I will find you. We are such skilled stalkers. So I did some Facebook stalking, and I went to their Facebook pages. I found a few websites. And you know how hard it was for me to find a way to pay that person money? It was almost impossible. Some people, I had to scroll through 3 months worth of content on their Facebook page before I found a post that actually promoted something. So I know that sometimes we can be really resistant to be too salesy, and we see so many people out there doing the hard sell. So it feels really hard to go out there and pop an offer out there, or to remember to promote your services on your Facebook page. But honestly, you've probably bounced back too far the other way. There is nothing wrong with 1 out of 10 posts, 1 out of 12 posts on your Facebook page being the promotion of a paid offer or service, or have like every second one be paid and every second one be free. But have a call to action as consistently as possible. Now, I'm going to jump to the next one. A confused mind will always say no. So the more you instruct people on the one action, the more people who will take it. So on your blogs, do you have a call to action on what the next step is for people? So is it bad to have a book me if you'd like a session like the story I tell you at the end of each blog I write? That's okay, Susanna. But what I encourage people to do is change it up. So if you've done a blog, for example, on 5 green smoothies that will, 5 green smoothie ingredients that will perk you up in the morning, would you like some green smoothie recipes? Click here and grab my smoothie recipe book on the bottom of a blog. Come up with 4 or 5 nice evergreen opt-ins, evergreen freebies, just one for now to start, and then another one, and then another one, and have them be nice and general so that you can find for most of your blogs, there's a great call to action for them to jump on your mailing list. There's a great call to action for them to take another step with you. Now, that another step with you, if you're in startup mode, could simply be, if you'd like to jump on and have a free 15-minute chat on how we can work together, then click here. That is totally fine. That is totally fine. It won't convert particularly well because one blog is not creating a lot of KLTC, right? And but you might send your blog out to your Facebook, out to your mailing list every single week. I hope that you are, or every single fortnight, depending on your market. And so some of the people reading that blog might actually be on your mailing list and know you for a while. But have a think about it. On your social media posts where you're doing promos, is there one call to action? Now, in the Heart Centre group, if you're doing a one-to-one offer, I always recommend the call to action is comment below or private message me if you'd like to book in. That's the only call to action I recommend for one-to-one when you're in startup. Now, if you are promoting a course or a program on your webinar, throughout the webinar, have you told people about 6 other free things that they can do? Or are you focusing people on one call to action on that webinar? So I see this a lot when I jump onto people's webinars. They'll do their intro and they'll say, and I have this great Facebook group. Here's the link to come and join my Facebook group. And then halfway through, they're talking about something and they're like, and if you're struggling for ideas with this, here's a freebie that will give you those ideas. And then they get to the end and they say, and here's my course on how to do it. But you've distracted people with so many freebies that your paid call to action on the webinar is lost. People have a giant list of 30 things to do as a result of your webinar. So have a think about what your one call to action is. On sales calls, when people say, yeah, I'm interested in finding out how to work with you, do you ask them questions and then recommend one solution? Or do you just rattle off all 5 of your possible packages that people might be interested in and then wait for them to decide? If you do sales calls and you give people a couple of things to consider, what is the thing that they're going to say to you? What is their response going to be? If you give them 3 packages to choose from, they will say, thank you, I'll go and have a think about it. No worries, everyone. Trisha, we'll catch you soon. So on sales emails, when you send up a follow-up email to a webinar, are you telling people, here's the recording, make sure you watch it, and here's the offer that I shared? Or are you giving people 13 different calls to action? Focus down. Focus on one call to action. All right, so have a look in your chart on key 2 and give yourself a rating, 1 to 1, 1 to many. To what extent are you sharing your call to action, first and foremost? And to what extent are you focusing people down on one action? I'll be very interested to hear about this one. I love it. All right, let's jump into key number 3. Do you give people an incentive to act? And is it time sensitive? Oh, hang on. I've got some questions. I always pop a freebie and a paid call to action at the end of my blogs, and I change them up to match the thing I'm promoting launching at the time. Is that okay? Shanae, I would recommend having 4 out of 5 of your calls to action on your blogs free and only 1 paid if it really is the next logical step. Conversion from a blog to a paid product or service is generally really low. So I would focus on the free thing and do the conversion from the free thing into the paid thing. So I would only have 1 call to action and I would have that be the free thing most of the time. And then when people sign up to the free thing, have a nice little email sequence, even if it's just 2 or 3 emails, that then introduces the paid thing. So I would stretch out that process a little bit just based on what I know of your business and the reach that you have. Yeah, beautiful. Love it. Okay, Nicole says, terrible rating for calls to action. On my post-webinar emails, I gave 3 options of how to work with me. Now we know, Nicole. Awesome. That was in my feedback. Jody says, Tash, in my one-to-one calls, the potential client will often tell me what's urgent now and also their long-term vision. How can I help them with the long-term vision? How I can help them with the long-term vision depends on how the first steps go. If I don't mention the long-term, is this not connecting to their deep desires? What I can say is I do X to help you with the immediate. Then after we've done that, we can talk about the longer term stuff. More articulate than mobile texting, but same gist. Yes, so beautiful. So if they've got a really urgent issue, but they also have a long-term vision, then connect those 2 things in the conversation. It's really beautiful for you to say, you know, what we really need to focus on right now is this short-term stuff, because the short-term stuff is the stuff that's really like the urgent and it's creating the issues for you right now. Let's resolve that. But can you see how by resolving this in the short term, it's then going to actually help you get really on track towards that longer term vision. So I share that long-term vision with you. Let's focus on the short term now. So, you know, find the words that feel comfortable for you. But what I'm saying is don't give them a call to action of, well, if you want to work with me for 6 months, it's this, for 3 months is this, for 1 month it's this. Ask them, what's the priority for you right now? Is it the getting stuff sorted in the short term, Or is it working on this over a longer period of time? If they answer the short term, sell them into your intensive. If they say, no, this is a long-term thing for me, I really want to do this consistently, then tell them about the long-term thing. Ask lots of questions before you present the solution. Beautiful. Shanae says, cool, thanks. Key 3, what's the best conversion rate? It depends on the product, Sue. Happy with clear call to action, Stephanie? Yep, beautiful. Sharon says, at the end of the blog, is it too much to have, this is the link to my Facebook page, this is the link to have a chat with me? Should I just have the one call to action? This is the link to have a chat with me. Do one call to action, but change it up, Sharon. So for one blog, if the best call to action for them for one blog is to have a call with you, then have that as the call to action. If the best call to action is come and connect with me on my Facebook page, then have that as the call to action, but make a decision one or the other. When it comes to social pages and that kind of thing, you can also just have those little social share buttons. So I have those on my website. There's a little F, there's a little Instagram image, there's a little email envelope symbol. So if people want to follow me on Facebook, they'll just click the little F. That's not necessarily a call to action here. That's more is this the kind of stuff that you like? Hang around and chat and check out some more. So technically you could have both, but I wouldn't have them both as a call to action. Beautiful. Do you have a call to action? Oh, hang on. Great. That's what I do. I don't ask whether they'd like to jump into long term, which they may want to do. Yes, Jody. Ask them that question. Love it. Leah says, do you have a call to action on every single blog or just specific blogs that are strategically better? I have one on every blog these days, Leah. So it's totally up to you. I have a content upgrade on every single blog, and I'll also, because I have a podcast with show notes, I might have mentioned another episode or something like that, and I will have a link to that in the show notes, but the call to action is very clear. It's the one big button. Yep. Beautiful. So no, download your free thing here in the top of all pages. You can, Renee, so you can definitely have download your free thing here, but it's really hard to then match that free thing. Once you start having more than one free thing, it's kind of hard to match that free thing to the topic of the blog post. So a great example of this is if you're a marketing strategist, for example, and you're doing a blog post about Facebook stuff, it's so much more relevant to have grab my free Facebook Marketing for No Money ebook than have get my Marketing Insights ebook, right? Because you want to focus people down on something that's more strategically aligned to the topic of that blog post. Let's not all get hung up on just blog posts though, right? Remember I shared there's the webinars, there's on your live one-to-one conversations with people, on your posts in Facebook pages and in Facebook groups, like all of the places, call to action. Clearly call to action is an area that requires some work for a lot of people. So I want to talk about incentives to act because I have a very different approach to incentives to act than some other marketers out there and people who teach this strategy stuff. So you may have seen that people say, you have to have a countdown timer. You have to make it limited spaces, make it this, make it that, create scarcity, even if it's false scarcity. I do not believe in false scarcity, and I do not believe in false timelines as well. So there are softwares that you can download that give people their own countdown timer, and they have 24 hours from when they first sign up to your list to get your special course. Instead of paying $195, they get it for $27 or whatever. And once it expires, it blocks their IP address and their email and their computer from ever accessing that special again. I don't agree with that as a strategy. So that because you then, if they used a different computer and signed up on your email address, they could find it, like they could get to it. And so for me, that's creating false scarcity, or it's creating a false deadline. I don't like doing that, but I do like to see how I can incentivize people to act. So sometimes the incentive to act is simply, let's get working on this straight away. The sooner we start working on it, the quicker this is going to turn around for you. That to me is an incentive to act. So sometimes we do have time-sensitive deadlines. So for example, when I'm in a launch, I will have a limited time offer for an early bird. Or, I'm selling my tour tickets at the moment, and during Tashmas, they have an extra discount off the early bird price. When that special discount ends, it ends. It's not false. It is a time-sensitive incentive for people to act, and that incentive is a discount. But it doesn't always have to be particularly scarcity mindset space. It's just thinking about, why should someone take action on this now rather than later? So sometimes you might have freebies that disappear, that aren't available after a certain date. When I put my recordings up these days, it's more for me having great admin and filing skills than anything else. But my webinar recordings don't stay up forever. My webinar recordings go up for a certain period of time, and then I take them down, because chances are I'm going to be running a conversion webinar again at some point, either this year or next. And I want to refresh it. I want to create a new conversion webinar. I want to have a new take on this. So I'm going to have practiced and learned even more, and I'm going to have new things to share with people, or a more refined way of presenting it. So my freebies do have a limited amount of time. In the Lady Posse library, which is one of my freebies, I have a rolling group of freebies in that library. So some of those freebies will only be in there for a couple of months, and then they go away and then new ones pop up. So I use that as the incentive to act. Jump in. When people join the Lady Posse library, the number one thing I want them to do is go and watch something, or go and download something, go and get some value out of it. And so I've used that as my incentive for people to jump in, is to say, the Lady Posse library freebies change from time to time. So make sure you jump in and download the stuff that you want now, rather than waiting. That is a beautiful incentive to act, but it doesn't say, quick, you have to jump in. I'm going to delete it. Get out. Da, 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 da. I'm going to block you from being able to see it. I don't want to incentivize that way, with that false scarcity or that false time sensitivity. I love a good countdown timer, I must say, where the countdown is a thing, right? I love a great countdown timer. I love them. I love having them when I'm interested in signing up for something. I love to know how long have I got, and seeing the date. Sometimes I get my calculations wrong. So having that little countdown time that says you've got 2 days and 4 hours to make a decision, I love seeing that. So I don't mind using a countdown timer, but I hate fake countdown timers. So Sharon says, I hate countdown timers. The scarcity post feels way too sausage. Also, it isn't true, as I'll get an email past the time giving me another offer. If it was really scarce, I wouldn't get the extra offer. Exactly. I actually signed up for someone's mailing list through 3 different freebies, and I got the same scarcity email 3 days in a row, but it was all the same words, the same countdown timer, but I got myself an extra day. So, those sorts of things, people are really wising up to this these days. They don't want to be scared into action. They don't want to be pushed into action out of fear. And so when we look at our incentive to act, know what you're comfortable with and do it in accordance with your values, in accordance with the way you would like to be treated. If you're willing to receive it, then chances are it's okay for you to be able to send. We're so poo-poo on the scarcity tactics that I'm almost scared to put on a deadline on anything. And then I get unhappy emails saying, I missed the early bird. Exactly, Jay. So it's about finding that balance. If the deadline exists, it's in your clients and your leads and your followers' best interest to know about it. Make sure that you make that really clear and you talk about that deadline consistently. Just don't make a fake one. That's the thing. So if you've got a deadline for people, if something is going out, if that is, if something is ending, or if if there is a deadline, don't be afraid to tell people about it. That is not poo-pooed, right? It's just the creating it for the sake of creating it, and then it isn't actually a thing. I guess I just never fib about anything, so that's my tactic. I love it, Jay. It's a nice, very easy tactic, right? Don't feel bad things. Yeah, beautiful. Fear incentives make me question program. Like, why rush this decision if it is good and it is a good value? I also want to say there are more incentives you can use than simply discounts. So get creative. Maybe, something that I am very conscious of is if I was to have an early bird discount every time I launched the takeoff program, then the people who joined at full price last time are paying more than the people who joined at early bird this time. So I need to incentivize the action with something else because that feels a bit gross to me. I want people, the sooner someone buys, the cheaper it is for them, no matter when they're buying, right? Because it's an evergreen program, you can join at any time. I don't want to penalize people for having joined last year and they got it for a certain price. And if they'd waited till this year, they would have got it cheaper. So that's definitely something to consider as well. So Tiffany said, I already got that one. Excellent. So think about things like bonuses. Please don't have 13 different bonuses. Just a single bonus is enough. So I did one with the takeoff program that people join. The next 3 people to join will get a copy of my book for free, and I'll post it out to you. The bonus could be a half-hour session with you. The bonus could be an extra hour on your package or something along those lines. I had fast action bonuses when I was selling people from single sessions into one-to-one with me. So I didn't want to create that fear tactic with people, but I did want to incentivize people making a decision. So what I used to do was on the call, on the intro call, I would say at the end, do you want me to tell you how we can do this together? Yep. Okay. Well, here's, what are you looking for? Ask some questions. Here's what I recommend for you. I'm recommending that we do a 6-month program together. This is what it includes, and this is the investment. And if you sign up within 48 hours of this session, I will take $200 off it. Or if you sign up within 48 hours of this session, I'll give you a bonus month, right? So there was always an incentive for people to make a decision. I never did if you sign up right now while you're here on the call, because for me, that's very pressured. I wanted people to still have the opportunity to talk to their partner about it, to get the money together if they needed to sleep on it for at least one night. But for me, 48 hours was a great deadline to get people to really seriously consider it and come back and make a decision. So you can use, love that you do within 48 hours and not pay now. Yeah, look, honestly, it comes back to me, right? I have been on those sales calls before where they say, if you sign up before you hang up, it's half price, right? Like it's a huge discount if you sign up before you hang up. But I need to talk to my partner about it. Anything more than $500, we have to have a conversation. I want to sleep on it. I want to make an empowered decision. And so because that's what I want, that's what I give. Yeah. Sue says, I offer a discount to my MyMaps if they sign up within 24 hours of inquiry call. Perfect. So it doesn't necessarily need to be a discount, and you can incentivize what you want, the action that you want people to take in many, many different ways. Woo, K4, that should say key 4. Key number 4. So I want you to jot down in key 3, are there any things that you want to explore in terms of incentivizing people to act, even if it's just through your language? Let's get this sorted once and for all. Let's start today. Here's the thing. Let's do it, right? So even if it's just language, there's not actually a physical incentive. How can you start to incorporate that in your conversion strategies? Key number 4 is empowerment. Empowerment. Now we're going way away from the sausage marketing techniques here. And I want us to look at how we can empower people through our sales and conversion processes. So have a think about this. If you've ever been on a webinar before and you've heard them say, if you don't sign up to this program, if you don't have this support, if you don't do it this way, there's no way that you're ever going to succeed, and you can't actually afford it. Have you seen when people are promoting stuff like that and all the comments like, oh my God, I'm so devastated. I can't do your program. I'm never going to make it as a business person. And they've created this sense of complete disempowerment. I have seen so many people just completely bucked away by that, right? Horrid. Yeah, it is horrid. And when I start to experience that feeling, I actually tune out. I will leave a webinar halfway through if I can feel myself feeling anxious about my capacity to do my business. I've done it with a few of the Jeff Walker style launches, with product launch formula. That process of disempowering people before you present yourself as their true savior and your program as the perfect way for them to go forward, I actually really don't like it. And I don't like being sold to that way, and I don't sell that way. So instead, look at how you can empower people through the process. So empowerment tool number 1 is helping people understand that they can do this. You can do this. You can make changes. You can get started. You don't need me to help you. You can do this, right? So actually empowering people that this is something that they can do on their own without having specifically your support. Now, you might have heard me say this a lot. Like, I'll say to people, a lot of people, when we finished up Lean Startup School, were saying, I'd love to join Takeoff, but I'm just not there yet. And I say to them, jump into the library, come to every one of my webinars, start taking action. You will see results. And I'm here when you're ready. And then there are other people who are saying, oh, look, I feel like this is my thing. I feel like the Takeoff program is my thing, but I'm not sure I'm the right kind of person to create this kind of business. And I'll have a conversation with them and I'll ask them some questions and I will empower them and because I can see it in people. They've had all confidence zapped out of them and they're starting to mistrust themselves. They're starting to lose faith in their ability to make stuff work and to work things out. I had that with tech. Like, when I was in the corporate world, I was so good with technology. I was the Excel queen. When I started my business, I got sucked into doing this build your own website course. And honestly, they made me feel like I was an absolute noob. And I, for a whole year, said, I'm so not a techie person. Oh, I suck at technology. And up until that point, I had been saying I was amazing at technology. I was so good. I was Excel queen. And it was such an interesting thing for me to see. Exactly. I'm here when you're ready. Yes, I am here when you're ready. I can see how the empower thing works if I want to teach people how to use their cameras, but it's not a path I want to go down at this stage. Is there an alternative? Well, it's just about making an empowered decision as well. So one is you can do this, right? So for you, Susanna, now Susanna does documentary photography. And it's not you can do this as in you can take the photos yourself. It's you can do this as in you are ready now to have your life with your child documented. Now is the time, right? You and your child have this amazing connection. Let's capture it. You can do this now. Because I bet you a lot of women see your service and go, oh, I'm going to lose 10 kilos in the next 2 months, and then I'm going to do this. And then their kid's going to be 2 months older, and it's going to be a completely different development phase. It's going to be a completely different thing. So it's not necessarily empowering people to do it themselves if that's not what your product is, but it's empowering people that they're ready now, that now is the time for them, and helping them to make a decision about whether they are ready now or not. A lot of people want to sign up to my course on how to create and launch courses, but they're not ready. They're not actually ready. They need to get their fundamentals sorted. So I help people make an empowered decision instead of trying to convince as many people as possible to jump in, even if they're not ready. My create and launch your courses that heart, my program on creating and launching your online course, it's evergreen. You can join at any time and you can have it forever. But I don't tell people to join now so that they can do it later. Oh, just join now and you can do it later. No. Only join now if you're ready to do this now. If you've got other things to work on in your business, let's do that first. And then you'll know that courses are actually the way that you want to go. Because for a lot of people, they haven't actually decided on their model yet. But I'm not going to keep ranting about that. Help people make an empowered decision. Help them ask some questions that will help them decide if it's actually the right move for them right now. And trust that for every person for whom it's not the right move right now, there are people out there for whom it is. Don't create a marketing strategy and a conversion strategy and a sales strategy based on fear of missing out on sales. Create it from that knowing that there are so many women out there are so many people out there who need this now. And the third way you can really empower people, I believe, is to reduce their risk. And I love offering a 30-day no questions asked money back guarantee. Now, there are lots of courses out there that would tell you they have no risk because they have a 30-day money back guarantee. But when you read the terms and conditions of that money back guarantee, you have to show them your homework. You have to show them you've spent money on Facebook ads. You have to show that you've done all, 3 modules in the first 3 weeks. You have to show them this. You have to show them that. I believe that my clients are not 11-year-olds. They don't have to show me their homework. And if for any reason, including, I ran out of money this week, they need to get a refund within the first 30 days, I will happily give it to them. Denise says, I will not buy a course that asks for that. I always check it. Even if I'm not planning to buy a course, I will go and check the terms and conditions of their refunds because some of them are freaking ridiculous. There's another one that is, it's a $15,000 program that has one-to-one coaching included, and it says we will continue to give you one-to-one coaching every single week until you hit 6 figures, so long as you do the work. And they actually don't tell you on their sales page or terms and conditions what do the work involves. But I've heard from a few people who have been sucked in by this line that do the work involves giving away 100 hours of free coaching sessions in the first month. That's 25 hours of free coaching sessions every single week for 4 weeks. And if you ask for a refund or you want to continue with the free coaching, you need to send them the list, the name, phone number, and email address of every single person that you've done those sessions with. And guess what? You have to say whether they signed up with you or not. And if they say no, they go and actually do their own sales pitch to them, just quietly. So read the terms and conditions. And if you don't have clarity around what those terms and conditions are, ask, send an email. What does do the work involve? What will I need to have done in order to be eligible for my refund and eligible for my free one-to-one coaching every week? So when it comes to my terms and conditions, it's a 30-day, no questions asked, money back guarantee. And I even say sometimes on my webinars, even if you don't like my eyebrows or even if you think my voice is annoying, I don't care what the reason is. If you don't think this is a good program for you, you can get your money back within the first 30 days. So to what extent, let's look at key 4. I want you to give you a rating, put some notes in here. To what extent do you empower your audience to make a decision that fits them? And to what extent do you lower their risk and do you make it feel easy? Empowerment in sales is sexy. You stand out from the crowd. You suddenly become very different to your competition. And people feel that they can trust you. They really do. So what are some of the things that you can do? Now, when it comes to one-to-one refund policies, I would highly recommend that you follow 2 ladies, Shalini Nandan from Legally Shalini and Michelle Marie Whitehead. And Michelle actually has a fabulous Facebook group called Business Serenity, which always makes me think of that Seinfeld episode, Serenity Now. And I would highly recommend that you hang out with these 2 amazing heart-centered lawyers and that you have a look at some of the things that they recommend for one-to-one refund policies. So for my one-to-one packages, I have a slightly different refund policy, and that is a prorated refund policy. And I also, with the terms and conditions, I just send it in an email. I don't have a contract, but I send through terms and conditions and get agreement to the terms and conditions. And that agreement is that, first and foremost, if at any point you're feeling like things aren't working, you will let me know straight away so that we can work together to fix it and resolve it and it doesn't escalate without my awareness. And then number 2, we can negotiate a way of finishing up our work together that ensures that the time that I have invested has been compensated appropriately and you get an appropriate portion of your investment back. So it's really beautifully worded and I love it. What's the best place to find a terms and conditions template? Those 2 ladies. So it's Shalini Nandan from Legally Shalini and Michelle Marie Whitehead, both ladies in the Heart-Centered Soul-Driven Entrepreneurs Facebook group. Beautiful. Lovely. And Jody says, yes, in which case I want you to have your money back. Perfectly. Perfect. All right. Key number five. Some of you already know what this is. Don't spoil it for the rest of the people. No, you can totally spoil it. It's responsible for 80% of my conversion. It is the thing I resist most, and I know most of you do too, even now. And it's the action that 99% of your peeps actually appreciate you taking. But the fear of the 1% who won't appreciate it is what stops you from doing it. And you guys all get it. Can you guess what it is? It's follow-up. We had follow-up day yesterday in the 7-day Fast Money Challenge. We had such a cool Facebook Live talking about follow-up yesterday. And it really is the key to great conversion. It is. It accounts for 80% of my conversion. 20% of people buy immediately, 80% buy on follow-up. That might be a follow-up email. That might be the follow-up email sequence to a freebie. That might be a follow-up call to a one-on-one session. That might be a follow-up to someone who's messaged me. It is responsible for 80% of my sales in my business. Now, my secret to conversion is super duper simple. Find the words that feel comfortable and empowering for you. Jody says, holy crap cakes, if I added 80% on top of the sales I have now, I would be booked out. Perfect, Jody. Isn't that an exciting motivator for actually following up with people? Tiffany says, this is where I falter. Isn't it? Yes, it is, Jody. So find the words that feel comfortable and empowering for you. I love sending people an email that simply says, hey, such and such, we talked about blah, blah. Do you want me to send you through any more information? Do you have any questions? That one email has no sales pitch in it. I don't repeat the price. I don't say, it's not salesy at all. It's a conversation. It's a chatty email. That chatty email totally works. Great hair in this shot, Tash. Yes, this was my photo shoot. This was a while ago. I spoke at the Artful Business Conference and I had a photo shoot with Felicity O'Connor's partner, Matt. Handsome Matt. So the question I ask myself is, would I be happy to receive this email? And if yes, then send it. If you would be okay with receiving this email from someone, send it. Yes. Ethel says, how to do follow-up for courses and membership sites. So if you're in launch, do you have a beautiful follow-up email sequence? So when people have come to your lead magnet, so they've come along to a webinar or they've participated in a challenge, do you just send them the recording and tell them about the course and then that's it and they never hear from you again? Or do you actually have a gorgeous follow-up sequence that reminds them to watch the webinar recording? You can have a look at what I'm going to send you after this webinar. Do you have something that goes out and reminds them to watch the webinar recording and reminds them of your special offer? Do you have a special email that goes out that says, this is why I created the program. Here's a bit of a personal insight into why I'm doing this. I love my email sequence follow-ups, and I'm going to be doing a masterclass on email sequences, actually, because it's definitely something people are asking me a lot for. So that follow-up can be where people really let themselves down. And also, sometimes you have all the automated emails going out, but you're actually not doing the Facebook Lives to then connect in with people in the follow-up. So those email sequences, if you've had one-to-one conversation with people, if people have messaged you about things, if you've got leads for things and people haven't replied or you haven't got a system to do the follow-up, start to look into it and be honest. Let's look at key 5. Are you following up in a consistent and systematic way? The more you systemize it, the less your mindset gets in the way. So if you send out invoices to people and they haven't paid after a week, does your system automatically send them a reminder? Or do you have a system through which you are reminded to send them a reminder? Or is it just, oh my gosh, I've got, you reconciling your zero and you go, hey, that invoice is 21 days overdue. Oh, it's a bit late now. Do I send a follow-up? Oh, it's probably awkward. Oh, I don't know. So being systematic and giving yourself those prompts, the longer you leave the follow-up, the more awkward it feels for you. And also the more they're likely to have forgotten what it is that you do or what you've spoken about. Who you are can sometimes be a big one. I got an email from someone and it simply said, "Are you still interested in working on your Facebook ads?" And I replied, "Yes, I am, but I don't know who you are." And it was someone I spoke to like 8 months ago about doing my Facebook ads when I was interviewing like 12 different people. It was hilarious. I was like, "Yes, I am, but I have no idea who you are." It's like, "Oh, we spoke, 8 months ago, da, da, da." I was like, "Oh, I never heard from you." So I went with someone else and it didn't work out. So maybe we should have a chat. But given that it took you 8 months to follow me up, I'm wondering how long it will take you to reply my emails, Anyway, that's an interesting lesson. So the more you systemize it, the less your mindset gets in the way. So I have no system. So prompted to put something into place, especially when I'm getting busier and busier. Can't always rely on my memory. Money left on the table, says Jody. So even if all you do is put together a spreadsheet to follow up with people and you fill it in every time you have a chat with someone, you open your little follow-up spreadsheet, you put them in, you put the date in, and you check your follow-up spreadsheet on a Friday. That's what I've been doing since I started my business. Follow-up Fridays. An Excel spreadsheet is fine. I use an Excel spreadsheet too. There are some great CRMs out there. I only use an Excel spreadsheet because I don't do a lot of one-to-one stuff with people anymore. So the one-to-one follow-up isn't a significant amount of time or investment for me. I'm not particularly selling a lot of one-to-one packages anymore. I do have a spreadsheet of everyone that I've ever worked with one-to-one. And if anyone's worked with me one-to-one, maybe in the last 18 months, I might send them a little personalized email about a retreat if I think it's a good match for them, because that's kind of a new way to work with me one-to-one. But yeah, just systemize it in some way, even if it's just in your calendar. Follow up Friday. On Friday mornings before you're allowed to do anything else, you send your follow-up emails, right? That's it. Just 25 minutes. Do a Pomodoro of 25 minutes and do your follow-ups. So by now, you've probably got this beautiful table with some great keys and some great ideas and actions that you can put in place to improve your conversions. Jody says, "Do you have retreat dates listed anyway, Tash?" I don't have any retreats scheduled at this stage, Jody, except for the one I'm releasing in Tashmas. So that's coming out on day 7 of Tashmas. So keep an eye out for that one. So one-to-one conversion, one-to-many evergreen, one-to-many launch, and the 5 keys. So you've probably got some cool ideas. You've probably got some cool ideas on things that you can do. Did anyone notice something about the 5 keys? Or something that I said about the 5 keys at the start of today? If someone guesses that, I'm sending you a free book of your choice. Where's the 6th? Miriam, you've already got most of my books. I love you so much. I'll send you a prezi. I said there were 6. I totally said there were 6 keys. Haha, good one, Miriam. The 6th key to conversion is your mindset. The 6th key to conversion is your mindset. If you are spending every minute thinking, no one's going to sign up, I'm not good enough, this isn't any good, then that's what you're going to attract. Your mindset rituals are more important than ever when it comes to conversion. I'll take chocolate, thanks. Beautiful, Mizza. I'll send you some chockies. Perfect. I have a 5 out of 5 mindset as of this week. Woohoo! I love it, Jody. I won't tell Bev, Miriam, that's fine. So, really check in with your mindset. If you have an offer that doesn't work, notice what your brain is saying to you about why it didn't work. If you have if you have an email that you send out and you just get 5 unsubscribes and no conversions, yes, look at it through a strategic perspective, but I also want you to pay attention to your mindset. People say to me, oh my God, I had someone send me a message and said, oh my God, no one ever spends money in the Lady Posse. They're all just there trying to sell their stuff and no one's buying anything. I'm giving up on making offers. I was like, if no one ever bought anything in the Lady Posse, why would 150 to 200 people post their offers before 9 a.m. on a Wednesday every single week? They're posting them there because they do sell. They're posting them there because they do make great sales there. But look at that mindset. No one ever buys. Everyone is here just to sell. That's why my stuff isn't working. That mindset of, no one's going to buy from me. This sucks. This place sucks. No one wants my thing. That mindset is probably more important than working on your conversion strategies at that point in time. Jody says, not 5 out of 5 on webinars. Realize that I've been sad about low webinar signups, but every webinar I've done, even with only 5 signups, has gotten me a paying client. So like maybe just keep doing them even if there's only 5 people, because it gets you a sale, lady. I love it, Jody. 20% conversion, Jody. Yes. Look at you. You've got 4 times my conversion rate from a webinar. Go you, right? That is awesome. So can you see how conversion isn't just about finding that one thing? It's about the long-term and the short-term strategies. Some of these are short-term changes. You'll see in your chart that some of these are short-term changes. It's a simple shift of putting a call to action on your blog post. It's a simple shift of only having one call to action on your offers or on your webinars. It's a simple shift of only having one call to action in an email. It's a simple shift of maybe having more of your face in your slides on your webinar. They are short-term things that you can do. But building up know, like, and trust and connect factor with people can take a longer period of time. Getting good at follow-up can take a longer period of time. You need to practice. As I said, I believe everything is a practice. These are things that you might start putting them in place and you might not see a big shift straight away, but over time, they compound to create a really big shift in your business. And I want to know, where is your strategic advice coming from this year? Where are you getting support on how you can actually improve your strategies? Yes, Shanae, yours is coming from me. Welcome. Shanae is one of my most prolific and most active members of the Heart-Centered Business Academy. And it shows, I gotta say. Ariane says, quite a few low scores, but general great doable action shifts from this are coming. Teacher voice on, room for improvement, Ariane, great. Room for improvement, but you're doing some things well as well. Look at your strengths. You will see by looking at these keys now, where do your strengths lie? For most of you, your strengths will lie in connection and your weaknesses will lie in systemization. So can you get help with the systemization and give yourself more space for connection? Give yourself permission to follow up with people more one-to-one, because that's what you rock at. Jody says, I love what you said about being nervous about the lady replying to your emails, because one of the big things about my service is the sense of having someone who always has your back and always sees how hard you're trying. Wouldn't it be lovely to create that sense of relationship through my newsletters? Yes, Jody, I love it. So where is your strategic advice coming from this year? Where are you looking to actually improve these conversion rates? And if you're looking to people who use those scarcity tactics, if you're looking to those people who have 0.5% conversion as your role models and the people whose advice you're taking on how to work on your conversion, maybe you're looking in the wrong place. Jody's in the takeoff program. Yours is coming from me too. So I am modeling what I just taught you of one call to action. If you would like that one person to be me, I've actually created a beautiful little questionnaire over on my website at tashcorbin.com/help. And even if you're not sure it should be me, I want to invite you to come over and fill in that template in that questionnaire, and I will personally review and respond to every single submission. And I will let you know if I am the right person to help you, and if not, I will tell you where to go. Oh, that sounds gross. I will tell you who to go and see. I won't tell you where to go. You know, that's a very Aussie saying. I will point you in the right direction. I will give you some peeps to follow. I will tell you some Facebook groups to join if I think there are some good ones. and I will give you some advice on what I think you need for free. This is totally free. So if you go to tashcorbin.com/help, and it's a pretty comprehensive questionnaire. You need to do the work, but if you do the work and you submit that questionnaire for me, I will give you personalized feedback. So let's jump to your questions. How juicy is that, Shanae? I thought I was going to do a slide with the 4 ways to work with me. And I thought, I'm not living by my message. I'm not following through with my message. So I'm modeling it. I'm practicing. This is an experiment. I could be cursing myself at 10 p.m. on Sunday night because there's hundreds and hundreds of people who are asking for help. But I wanted to live by my own message, and I wanted to role model this for you. So if you've got any questions about conversion, if you've got some areas where you've found there are 2 business days turnaround today, and I've done this on a Friday on purpose, so that gives me till Tuesday. So if you have come up with some keys that are missing some stuff for you and you want some help with that, then let me know in the chat box. I'm happy to answer your questions now. If you've got some questions about what I do for my conversion or how I've increased my conversion or any of those things, one-to-one, one-to-many, launch, evergreen, let me know in the comments box, and I'm totally happy to answer any and all of your questions here on the webinar. Beautiful. So I'll leave that information up there for you. So tashcorbin.com/help. Go and fill it in. And if you have any questions, please do let me know in the comments box. Sharon says, yes, this will be a no-brainer to follow through with the questionnaire. If not being done, I have to ask myself, am I really here to run a successful business or just entertaining myself? So Kathy says, I get disheartened when people unsubscribe from my email newsletter. It puts me off sending the next one. Kathy, I sent out an email newsletter today, about an hour before this webinar, and I had 13 people unsubscribe within the first 30 minutes. And that was really awesome. That was such a good thing. When it's a little bit of a rite of passage to go from freaking out at unsubscribes to celebrating them. But we want your email list to be full of peeps who love and adore you and are hanging off your every word. Now, for most heart-centered women, the reason why people unsubscribe is not because you've been too salesy, right? Because let's face it, we are 0.2% of the salesiness of most of those newsletter lists that people are on. The reason that they unsubscribe is that they just decide this isn't a priority for them right now, or this isn't information that they want anymore, or this isn't a priority for them and they'll come back later, or they don't want to do it on email. They're actually just going to follow you on Facebook. You know, I think that it's a really interesting thing to have that fear, right? And that's what I said with follow-up. 99% of people are ready and waiting for your newsletter, but we don't send them because we're afraid of the 1% who don't want it. But isn't it better that the 1% who don't want it get off our list as soon as possible rather than staying on there and no one hearing from us? So look at unsubscribes as something to celebrate, not something to fear. And if you have really high unsubscribe rates, and I'm talking about more than 1% of your entire list from a single email. So if you do get some high unsubscribe rates that are like more than 1%, then start looking at it from a strategy perspective. Are you being a little bit too salesy in all of your emails? Are your emails a little bit hard to understand? Do they lack personality? Do people not know who you are because your face isn't on there? There are some things that you can do to reduce those unsubscribe rates. But first and foremost, understand what industry averages are and celebrate when people who aren't the right fit are leaving, because that's actually a good thing. All right. Jody says, Tash, with only one area that is well rated, how do I decide where to start on the actions I can now see? Pick the 3 easiest things, Jody. The 3 things that excite you the most. You're like, oh my God, I could do that today. I'm going to go and do that this afternoon. Do those things first. So start with 3. Put this little chart up on your wall next to your desk and tick the things off as you do them. And just pick 3 to focus on for the next 7 days. And then once those are done, have a think about what you want to do next. But always start with easy and simple. Amanda says, hey, Tash, how to be more visible when visibility terrifies you. Now, number one, I'm going to recommend that you go and listen to my interview with the fabulous Miriam Castilla. Now, I think she's here, actually. Let me find the episode number for you. It's on my blog and website. And we talk about the fear of success. And it's never actually the fear of success that terrifies you. It's not visibility that terrifies you. It's the result of that visibility that terrifies you. So what is the negative thing that could happen? What is the thing that you're terrified of? What is the negative consequence of visibility that terrifies you? Get really clear with yourself on what it is that you're actually terrified of, because it's not visibility. You cannot change 100,000 people's lives unless 100,000 people know your name. It's true. 132. So if you go to tashcorbin.com/132, that's a beautiful interview for you to listen to. And like, visibility is pretty terrifying for everyone, Jay just said in the chat box. And I think it is, because visibility is such a big, vast, unknown quantity. What does visibility mean? Does visibility mean that my ex-husband's mother is going to be listening to my podcast? Does visibility mean that someone might say something yucky to me and respond in a negative way? Again, just like unsubscribes, having haters is a bit of a business rite of passage, and we celebrate it. In the academy, in the takeoff program, we celebrate it. Someone gets a bad email back, we say, yeah, look at you, you're successful. You've got a hater. Because, and this might surprise you, there are people out there who hate Oprah. There is actually no way for you to be loved by everyone, so stop trying to. Just stand up and be you. And of course, there's so much more to this, right? There's kinesiology. There's working on your mindset. There's, you know, I always say to people, if there's a fear and you can see it is really like hamstringing, what is the word? Does it hamstring you? I'm hamstrung by that. If there's something that's really holding you back, like, throw everything at it. My money mindset was the thing that was holding me back from going big in my business and from even starting my business in the first place. So I joined 2 group programs for money mindset and worked with a one-to-one practitioner. Because to me, it's non-negotiable. I have a vision of what I want my life to be like and what I want my business to be like. And all of these fears and all of these blocks and all of these things that I don't know how to do that get in the way, I'm committed to resolving them. It's a non-negotiable. So instead of using it as a reason not to go ahead, I use it as my drive to keep going ahead, to move through it. And for a lot of us, the extra visibility and the thing that we push through, that's the lesson that we need to learn so we can pass it on to our peeps as well. You know, my money blocks, my money mindset, my terrible money management when I first started my business are things that I'm very passionate about telling people to go and get help with now. They're things that I love helping people with. The 7-Day Fast Money Challenge was born because I needed to create a process in which I could get over my resistance to doing marketing activities and consistently working on my money mindset. And now I've created a freebie out of it. So, like, look at it through a new lens. Like, it's non-negotiable that we get through this, and this is a beautiful lesson that I'm then going to carry forward, whether it's for my followers in my business or whether it's for my kids or whether it's for my family line or whether it's for my friends or whether it's for my lady posse. I am equipped with the skills to be able to move through this, and I'm going to. Jody says, anyone who unsubscribed today is not aligned. It was a good email. Thanks, Jody. Claire says, so which of the 5 keys do you think is the most important to focus on overall, after the 6th, of course? If doing stuff more side hustle than limited time, and then have limited time. So Claire, if you've got limited time, as I said to Jody, just focus on the easiest things first. There isn't one, or actually there is one. One is follow up. If you're not following up, follow up. Because you're doing all that work to get in front of people. You're doing all that work to have people say yes, they want to work with you. You're doing all that work to have people sign up to your list. And if you're not following up with them, like, you don't need to get more reach, you need to get more follow up happening. So that would be number 1. But in terms of the others, there isn't necessarily one that's more important than the other. It's just whichever one has the biggest gap for you. Lovely. Suzanne says, I farewell them with love, gives them a chance to go find someone who resonates with them, and I know people who stay love my work. Yay. Jay says, I just deleted 200 people who have only ever downloaded a freebie and haven't opened an email since. Do you do that? I don't do that, Jay, because I know, for example, with my email service that I use, all of the lists that I'm on, it will look like I don't read their emails if I just preview them. But often I will preview them and get the thing that I need, and I'm cool with that. And I know that a lot of people do that for me as well. So, yeah, with my email system, all of my emails stay as unread on my server. And then, but in my email system that I manage on my computer, that's where I'm marking things as read and moving them off to different folders and stuff. So sometimes for other people, it will look like I'm not reading your emails, but I am. So I think everyone belongs. Like, if you're a silent stalker, if you're someone who doesn't read anything for a year and then all of a sudden finds a thing that really resonates for you, that's awesome. But like, everybody's welcome. I really don't care. That's totally cool if you don't read my email for 6 months. I trust that at some point they'll either go, you know what, I need to stop getting these emails, I'll unsubscribe. Or they'll go, oh, wow, I haven't looked at this chick's email for ages. I'm going to read it today. Maybe there's a gorgeous subject headline that I've not used yet that will drive them to open that email. That's okay. Yeah, I don't feel the need to cleanse. That's not my thing. Same with the hearts in a group. People say to me, is there a way for you to remove people who aren't active? I was like, my best friend's not active, but I know she reads all your shares. Like, she is the biggest lurker in this group, and that's okay. Like, I'm totally okay if people need to stalk for a while before they become engaged. And I'm totally okay if people just don't ever post. Like, it's no drama. The people I'm getting rid of are the people who spam their offers and then don't actually participate in the conversation more. That's more what I'm concerned about, is people who aren't here for the purpose of the group, which is to get support and learn and be part of a beautiful community. If people are just here to use it as a marketplace, they can go. I'd rather get rid of them. And they're posting all the freaking time. Tavy says, at the end of a challenge, how to increase your conversions? I feel I should keep giving free goodies. So there's a couple of things at the end of challenges that do really good things for conversion. Number one, match the medium that's working the best in the challenge. So, for example, if you send everyone an email every day in the challenge and you're getting great open rates on that email, send an email follow-up that makes the offer, and maybe do it a couple of times. If you're doing an email-based challenge and you're not getting great open rates, but everybody's turning up to the Facebook Lives, do a couple of Facebook Lives in which you talk about your offer. So match the medium that's working best. And if you're getting a pretty good email open rate and a pretty good Facebook Live turn-up rate, ¿por qué no las dos? Do both. You can, number one is like, look at the right medium that works for you. Number two is using Facebook adverts to advertise. So this is something I'm doing quite a lot more of, is because it's not too expensive as a Facebook ad. If I upload, say I have 400 people who've signed up to a free challenge, or 1,000 people who signed up to a free challenge, I will upload that email list as an audience to Facebook and then run a $20 a day ad to that audience that says, did you love the 7-day fast money challenge? Want more awesome law of attraction and marketing strategies? The next step is sign up for XYZ. So that's a really great way to get into the news feed of just those people who were in the challenge as well. So there's some cool ones for you for follow-up. It's different to the sneaky tag thing. Okay. Tash, what was the email you sent today? Don't think I got it. I think there are still email problems with getting your emails. So it was my newsletter for today, Sue. It was called Tour Tips and Tashmas, I think it was called. So maybe check your junk mail folder. If you still can't find it, then go to just email support@tashcorbin.com and say, I think I'm not getting your emails. Can you check if I'm on the list? And we can check that for you. If you haven't whitelisted Tash at tashcorbin.com, that can help as well. Lovely. Jody says, OMG, I should have known you'd say that. I can't remember what that was for. Sorry for freaking you out, Denise. That mustn't happen very often. Visibility terrifies most of us. Rejection. Visibility can mean fear of the male gaze. Yeah, so as I was saying before, there might be some kinesiology that's needed, or you might need to do a little bit of healing on things. There might be some things that, it's an actual real thing, like it's a justifiable fear. That is fine, but sometimes we need to do some work to move through that. Thank you, lovely. Going to listen after this. Awesome, Amanda. Thank you, lovely. Jay says, the mums at school watched my mummy shame live and sent me yucky messages. I was like, at least they watch my stuff. Who hates Oprah? There's a guy that I know who lives here on the Sunshine Coast, and he said very, very bad things about Oprah when I was at a party recently. I was like, oh my God, I did not know that people didn't like Oprah. Jeez. And there's a lot of people who actually don't like Oprah. Jody says, also now I look at things like, okay, so if I can't hack someone saying something nasty to me, that tells me I need to recognize who I have that can hold my hand while I work through the hard things, not just the potential of a nasty comment. Love it. Lovely. Sharon says, money mindset gets in the way of everything for me. It's like the catalyst to bring up my issues that need good examining and transformation. Yes. Visibility can mean fear of male gaze. Yeah, we saw that before. Stuff that scares us can hold the biggest gold. Yes, beautiful, Miriam. Every mother that is not so stuck that they can't see the brilliance of that video needs that video, Jay. I love it. I love the idea of Tashmas. It is fun. Right, Tash. Already answered that one. Claire says, follow up, perfect. Yes, which actions are fun and look at filling the biggest gaps. Awesome tips. You're welcome. Sharon says, Jay, I will follow someone and not respond for over a year and sometimes, but that doesn't mean I'm not interested in. I'm waiting for that moment. For example, batshit crazy. I followed Claire Barton for a long time, just waiting for what she offered that fit me. Yep, beautiful. Lynn says, nice. Tash, who is your go-to expert for Facebook ads? When I find them, I'll tell you, Sue McLeod. For beginner level stuff and entry level stuff, Bianca McKenzie's Facebook ads freebie is awesome. I haven't done her course, but I have heard good things about it as well. Jane Mackay in the Heart Center group also does Facebook ads management. I've not worked with her before, but if you're ready to pay for a manager, then yes, she's great. And Zach Spucklow's Facebook ads free trainings, and actually he has a membership program called the Monthly Marketing Playbook Membership or something, and it's like 37 Australian dollars equivalent a month. And he gives you a blow-by-blow on a different thing each time. And his Facebook ads one was awesome. So, yeah, that's a good one to follow as well. But, yeah, when it comes to actually hiring someone, I'm yet to find someone who really is a great fit for me for one-to-one. Bianca might be it. It's just that she's about to pop a baby. So she's going to be a bit busy for the next few months. Julie said, I have quite a few haters for being an aroma activist. So, yeah, I mean, like, who hates great smells? Honestly, but people do. They're like, you're an idiot, or I like the smell of grease in the morning. I don't know. People people will find a reason to not like you. There are some very angry peeps out in the world. There are some very judgmental people out there in the world. Like, I feel like I'm a judgment-free zone, but then I do know that there are a lot of people who really pride themselves on being really judgmental, and that's okay too. That's okay too. And so they might not follow you, but that's cool. And wouldn't you rather they just unsubscribe if they're not your person, rather than hang around and find that thing that really gets them cranky and then, troll all over your Facebook? Like, I'd rather that they didn't see it, so I can just happily let them go. Yeah. Lovely. Sue says, thanks. Awesome. Well, that's it for today's masterclass on conversions, maximizing conversions in 2018. I hope that it's been super helpful for you. I tried to make it as practical as possible. So hopefully you're walking away with your gorgeous, gorgeous little chart and some very practical strategies to increase those conversions. And of course, if you would like me to be the person helping you with that strategy, As you continue to move forward, then go to tashcorbin.com/help and fill in my little submission form. Thank you so much, everyone. Yes, Susanna, the replay will go out this afternoon. And until next time, beautiful ladies, I cannot wait to see you shine. Mwah! Goodbye for now.